What's the deal, y'all? Rich Trapper tapping in, TNN Trap News Network, and we back in action with another reaction video. Y'all know the deal, man. We in this thing, we in this thing, we in this thing. We are back in action with another reaction. That being said, like, comment, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right there. Become a part of this Rich Trapper Mafia by hitting that subscribe button right there at the bottom of the screen. It's like a little red button or something. Tap that thing so you can be back in this thing. Notification bell right there at the top. It's a little bell. Tap that, hit all, so you can say tapped in for the latest and the greatest of what we got going on. A lot of times YouTube be messing up the algorithm, man. So a lot of y'all aren't seeing my videos. If that's what's going on, go ahead and unsubscribe and then subscribe right back. We appreciate you here at TNN Trap News Network. News you can use, knowledge you can't get in college. With that being said, man, follow me on Instagram, Trap News Network, TRAPNEWSNETWORX. That's Trap News Network. Find me on all streaming platforms. Rich Trapper, Game 6. Rich Trapper, Worth More Than Money. Rich Trapper, I'm Better Off Without You. And my two singles, Start From Scratch and The Nightmare Before Christmas, are both out now. And by now, maybe by tomorrow. The next day at the absolute latest. My newest project, I'm Still Better Off Without You, will be out in rotation and available for streaming. So make sure you get into that. We are giving out $100. That's $50 two different ways. The best comment for the month of January will receive a $50 cash app, and the top commenter, once we get to 4,000 subscribers, and every 1,000 subscribers after that will receive a $50 cash app. So I'm gonna say it every video, because every video I want y'all to know, man, I'm giving out some good chiliana, man, some good chiliana. That being said, we finna jump right into this content without no further do's or don'ts. Somebody sent me this. It's Milk74 reacting. Milk74 reacts to Prisonland, a 50-50 yard that Jap 5 calls home. Let's go ahead and jump into this content without no further do's or don'ts. Oh, before we get into this, I want to start off by saying this. If you're in jail, it makes the most logical sense to want to do your jail time in a place where that will make less drama, less bullish, and less, X, Y, and Z. Oh, I was on the hardest yard. I was on this. Why do you want to be there? Anybody who ever had an opportunity to be on a more calm, peaceful situation, a more calm, peaceful yard, always took it while in jail. The only people who ever said that yard wasn't tough enough or wasn't this or wasn't that was the people who was mad that they couldn't get there. So if you're in jail and you're doing what you have to do to make your jail time as easy as possible without snitching on nobody or, losing your manhood or no weirdo stuff, that's logical. That makes sense. But so I want to start off by saying that. And, I'm neither for nor against Jap 5. I don't know him personally at all, so I have no real dog in this fight. But I do want to give y'all this good reaction because a lot of people that sent this to me, about 5 of y'all that sent this one to me. So we finna get into it. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
How it's gonna go. It's that time to log in to another reaction video. So check it out. I have gotten a lot of requests about this Jap 5 being housed at Prisonland video. So I found a clip. Now we gonna go and we gonna see what's the script. Come on.
From a distance, it's exactly what you would expect. Big fence, barbed wire, and of course, gun towers, like a prison postcard or something.
So it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. We're about 10 minutes away from going inside to Valley State Prison, supposedly one of the most progressive prisons in all of the country.
I don't normally drink coffee, y'all, but this sparkling water, some coffee, start my day a little bit earlier than normal. But let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Nickname is Prisonland, although from the outside, it looks pretty standard.
And of course, gun towers, like a prison postcard or something.
So it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. We're about 10 minutes away from going inside to Valley State Prison, supposedly one of the most progressive prisons in all of the country. The nickname is Prisonland, although from the outside, it looks pretty standard, but we'll see what the inside
Prisonland is crazy.
It looks like.
Now that threw me for a loop. I'm like, Prisonland, like what type of, if I was the people inside of there, if I was the inmates locked up there, I'd be like, we ain't calling this no Prisonland. Imagine me getting out of jail and telling people, like, they asking me, where you just got out from, where you was locked up at, and I'm telling them Prisonland. They gonna be looking at me side-eyed, wild.
Imagine getting out. That's just that. Like, why do we glorify ignorance and crime and all that kind of stuff? I mean, yeah, it's cool. I'm all for a rebel lifestyle as much as the next man, but how about you got out of jail? You had to sit somewhere in confinement, away from your friends and family, where you had to fight people. Even if it's not as many people as the person in the jail down the street, you still had to do your razzle-dazzle, your 1-2 step. They were at home watching Pokemon. You was eating noodles. You made it out. That's not enough to celebrate. Maybe I'm call me level-headed. My bad.
Crazy. Prison land.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Right inside, not much difference.
This is the deadly high voltage electric fence, apparently. Obviously, don't want to touch this.
But the more you get to know Prisoneyland, which officials say some locals refer to it as, you realize the first barriers coming down aren't actually physical.
And as we were talking, we don't really call them inmates here.
Incarcerated individuals.
Incarcerated individuals.
And that's where the difference is between this.
They identify as incarcerated individuals and not inmates. Okay, 2024 progressive, very politically correct, but let's keep going.
Prison and others around California.
They don't call them inmates. They call them incarcerated individuals.
Am I tripping to do Milk 7-4 always look like one of the sons of anarchy? Like Brody to jump on a motorcycle and ride off into the sunset.
I mean, that sounds cool. I guess that do sound better in a...
Bro look like an outlaw biker version of one of the Who's from Whoville from the Grinch, for sure. Like if Who's from Whoville were 1% motorcycle gangs, that'd be Milk.
I guess, like, no, I'm not an inmate. I'm an incarcerated individual. No, that's dope though. That's fire.
California just begin. Violence plagues our country's system of incarceration. When people get out, they have extreme difficulties finding a job. And while the data varies state by state, about half end up back in custody within a few years. All of that is why officials say the Golden State is trying to move in a new direction, starting a pilot program at 2 facilities with the goal to replicate the results in Scandinavia, where Norway says reforms over the last 2.5 decades have brought down the rate of reoffending within 2 years to only 20%, much lower than here in the U.S. They've also decreased the prison population.
That's a very low reincarceration rate. Like, they're definitely having like an educational system within their jail systems if that's what's going on, for sure, because education leads to a lot less jail time, for sure. Like if you look up the statistics, I got the most crime. Any place I got the most crime got the worst school system every time. Education and crime go hand in hand because people who know better do better. So if you ever curious about the crime rate in the city, look at the crime rate and then look at like the graduation stats. Look at whatever you can do to tie education to it. If crime is high, education is low, 9 times out of 10. But also in the same concept, if education is high, crime is low, 9 times out of 10. Of course, there are, exceptions to every rule, but speaking in general.
Significantly and have helped people reincorporate into society.
With that being said, it's cool that they got education within the jail system to help people not become, revisiting reoccurring prisoners.
Society after they serve their time.
You have a key to your own cell.
Yeah, everybody has their own key.
Authorities here say the most important thing they're trying to change at Valley State Prison is how it feels.
This is the central courtyard.
Yeah.
I feel very peaceful just looking at it.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Am I recording?
You're on, man.
Officials told us the only way to truly understand the reforms is by coming and experiencing them.
One of the principles of the California model is normalization, and the idea is we want to make the environment inside our institutions as normal as possible, with the goal of not releasing somebody who's institutionalized, but releasing citizens back to the community who have practiced normal pro-social behavior.
What about the argument that somebody might see this and say, well, isn't part of the goal punishment in some way? Why give them all of this nice stuff?
So I would say...
Because they're not animals, because they made a mistake and now they're paying their debt to society, but eventually they're going to have to return to that society. See, most people ain't doing life. Most people ain't on death row. Most people don't got no more than 15 before they hit back into the streets. So I say all that to say 8 out of 10 inmates, or 7 out of 10 if you want to be an argumentative little prick in the comments, will return to society. So if 10 people get locked up and 7 of them come home, you want those 7 people to be ready to return to society. You don't want them coming out with, they're trying to enforce jail lifestyles and livings onto the free world, because most people in the world don't actually go to jail. Most people, that's why jail is such an amazing thing and such a fascinating thing for people to study and dissect and all that, because the average person doesn't in fact go to jail. So to the few people who do, you want them to come out ready to be productive members of society so they don't go back to jail. So that definitely makes sense.
That people go to court to be punished, that's up to our judges and our juries. And when they
Why give them all of this nice stuff?
So I would say that people go to court to be punished. That's up to our judges and our juries. And when they come into our institutions, our goal is to basically help them become better citizens. So with that in mind, we are not in the punishment business.
That was, I couldn't believe he said that they really not into the punishment business. That's crazy. But if you really like take a look at the grand scheme of this, it's not really a bad thing. Like this, just looking at this and the stuff he talking about versus a California prison right now is like, whoa, like, you feel me? This versus you gotta become a racist.
Now, I will say this. To my understanding, this is the same type of yard that Crip Mac was on, and Milk, you was busting Crip Mac's A double about being a snitch or being on a snitch yard and 50-50 yard and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure in your mind what lies the difference between Jap 5 and Crip Mac outside of one being your homie Jap 5 and Crip Mac being your enemy, because you had so much to say about Crip Mac being in this very similar situation. Again, I ain't saying that it's right, I ain't saying that it's wrong, but what I am saying is, big dog, you are not maintaining that same energy. Not even a little bit, because you was calling Crip Mac all kind of names, snitch yard, pedophile yard, blah, blah, blah. Only this type of dude, only busters and Wookie Bam, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to your homie, you're very understanding of the exact same logic. So, yeah.
You gotta join an organization just to survive. Like, I don't know.
We're in the rehabilitative business.
I found it. Go to fat. All right, perfect.
A big part of that rehabilitation, a wide array of programs where the population learns a variety of coping and calming skills.
And she is a good horse.
Did you know you were going to be
really
grooming horses in
on
prison?
the prison yard?
No, to be honest, I thought I'd be stuck.
Hey, bro is learning how to, I was like, this is what I will say. Now, if he really learns how to groom this horse and he gets a job at a horse ranch, that is chilly. Do you know how much it costs to maintain one horse? If bro get good at that and he hit the streets and becomes a stable hand and really is working with them horses and cleaning up them horses and them horse stalls and all that kind of stuff, chilly. Chili chasing.
In a cell, maybe a few rehabilitation groups, but it helps me, cope with, a lot of stresses I deal with, day to day here in prison.
The hope is that creating a more positive environment makes the men locked up here more willing to rehabilitate. Of the total incarcerated population of 3,000 here, the prison says 2,400 are enrolled in training or education programs, including high school and college.
This day is the first day of the rest of our lives. We can start our day at any time.
When you came in and you saw what this was, what was your impression?
I thought I was going to come to prison and get worse, but coming to prison actually saved my life.
Wow. Say it again.
Coming to prison saved my life.
Since they started running these programs in 2017.
I know a lot of people who that was the occasion for them. I know a lot of people who went to prison and got sober and they got better relationships with their kids and their families. I know people who went to prison and just kind of basically got themselves together because they was either going to kill somebody or get killed based off reckless activities in the streets. So they had time to sit down and actually think and process. Sometimes that sit down do save your life, big dog. I ain't gonna lie.
Valley State Prison says it's reduced violence compared to other peer facilities. According to reports from the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, prisons across the state have seen between 15 and 32 homicides total each year between 2017 and 2021. At Valley State, 0. And only 1 recorded assault or battery against staff versus the hundreds at other facilities.
Get in the middle, you guys are going to circle me.
One of the most successful.
And it seems like that's because they showing these dudes more liberty. And with more liberty comes more responsibility, but with more responsibility comes more privilege. See, I done did a little bit of time, not no crazy amount of time, but I done did a little bit of time. Enough time to understand that being on the streets is a privilege. And you don't understand what I'm saying, then don't even worry about it. It's going to be some of y'all in the comments. I'm like, oh, what you mean it's a privilege? It's a right. It ain't a right. They got the right to take that shit away from you, big dog, and put you right in that cell where you going to be right there for a little bit of time. But, they doing things like learning how to groom horses. You see, they got the dogs out and all that kind of stuff. It's more to do and it's more incentives to make you not want to get into no ish. But by not getting into no issues, doing what you got to do to make sure that you become a better person. Like I can see the logic in this jail system. It makes sense in my opinion, because again, the judge and the jury is there to punish you. Your job as a correctional officer is not to punish me. You feel me? Knock on wood, because I don't go to jail no more. But your job as a correctional officer is not to punish the inmates. That's not what you're there for. If you want to punish inmates, go be a judge. Your job is to babysit. You feel me? And if the inmates is cool, the guards is cool, everybody's job is a lot easier. Everybody's time is a lot easier. The last thing anybody wants is unnecessary conflict.
Programs is dog training. Inmates working with puppies to become service dogs, eventually sent to help people across the country.
You know, for a long time, we were releasing citizens back into the community that had not improved their thought process. They had not rehabilitated from their behavior, and they go out and reoffend. And so when you start to introduce rehabilitative programs, when you start to introduce hope into this community, you really...
Now, these niggas giving each other facials is crazy. Them niggas giving each other full facials is crazy. I ain't mad at it, big dog. Do what you got to do to get through until you make it through. I'm not mad at it. But I did not expect to see them niggas giving each other facials. And I know I ain't the only one. If you also laughed at that part and was like, wait, what the hell? Just drop a what the hell in the comments. I just want you to drop a what the hell in the comments right now. If YouTube was like, wait, what the hell? I want to say what the... But I ain't trying to lose my monetization. But that's what the hell?
Transforming their thought process.
We followed
rehabilitative programs when you had not improved their thought process. They had not rehabilitated from their behavior, and they go out and reoffend. And so when you start to introduce rehabilitative programs, when you start to introduce hope into this community, you really are...
Hey, and Milk was not fazed by that, not one bit. He was like, oh yeah, facials in jail. That makes
transforming their thought process.
We followed a few of the dog trainers back to their cells. The doors lock from the outside, but they look a little more like something else.
Feels like a dorm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Did you expect that when you came in?
No.
So right now we are walking your dog past the pool table back to your spot in prison. That's pretty wild. So is this like the dog wing? It almost feels like to a lot of people that might watch this that
they're too easy on it.
Yes.
I would say no, because a lot of us worked out.
You're still in jail, and you probably had to work your way to get into this program. You probably started off on some crazy yard and had to work your points down to be there.
That's pretty wild. So is this like the dog wing? It almost feels like to a lot of people that might watch this that
they're too easy on it.
Yes.
I would say no, because a lot of us worked our ways down.
Sure.
So I came from a higher level, and it took me 7 years to come down to this.
People that are going to see this and say, shouldn't prison be a punishment? In some way. It should be reformation too, but it should also be, it should suck, right?
Yeah, so
this doesn't suck.
It does suck.
It does suck. Oh.
It does suck because you're away from everybody. Even with all the privileges they got, you know where they can't go home. That's what they can do. You know where they got to be inside a certain time? Their cell. That's where they have to be. That's what's going on. So I hear everybody saying, this should be worse, it should be worse. But you can't... Let me ask you this. If the situation was worse, how are you going to rehabilitate... Words are hard. If the situation was worse, how are you going to rehabilitate them? Can you be rehabilitated in a situation where you're uncomfortable and you ain't really feeling it and they treating you like trash, or your life is on the line? Would that situation be conducive for you to have rehabilitation? If so, then you a tougher individual than me, because for me, no, that's not gonna happen. You feel me? I'm gonna be focused on survival, not trying to make myself better. I might have to actually turn myself into a more animalistic version of myself in order to survive in this situation.
Okay, tell me why.
It does suck, right? I don't get to hug my family. Right. Would you rather want somebody coming out and getting reformed, or somebody coming in and
they
getting
can't
out
leave
the same way they came in, or worse?
Steve Patterson, after taking us to Prison Land, is joining us now. We are so grateful to you for bringing us that inside look.
Calling it Prison Land is crazy.
With that rare access, Steve. So here's a question, right? And some of those numbers, pretty noteworthy that you talked about as it relates to this particular facility. What about if one of the goals is to prevent reoffenders from coming back into the prison system? Is that actually working? Is it helping some of these incarcerated individuals, as they call them, lead more productive lives after they get out?
You know, I think it's important to say all of this is still too early in the program's life.
Now, it was a little surprising when I seen this. I'm like, whoa, Jeff 5 was on this video. Nah, but for real, why they didn't let him say nothing? Like, he couldn't even speak. That was weak. Nah, but for real, I was shocked because just in my thoughts, I'm like, nah, he just don't seem like he'll be the type that'll be on this type of yard. I just would be thinking like he would be getting into all type of stuff or kicking up dust.
It makes sense for Jap 5 to want to do his time in the smoothest situation possible so he can come home. He got a date. He know that he has to be there for a set amount of time and then he will be allowed back into society. Why would you want to extend that stay? This is not the Four Seasons. This is a jail.
He just wouldn't be eligible. Like he wouldn't qualify to go to no yard like this, or he wouldn't go to no yard like this. But I don't think he went to no yard like this because he didn't did something, or he didn't told, or he didn't like fold or something.
My man Milk just glitched, but he not having the same energy for Jap 5 as he had for Crip Mac, because with Crip Mac he had everything to say. He's trying to figure out how to dance around this one because he knows he's contradicting himself right now, but it's cool.
I don't think he went to no yard like this because he didn't did something, or he didn't told, or he didn't like fold or something. He probably really just made it up in his mind, like, I'm gonna take this chance and I'm gonna get on track because like I could just blow the possibility of my career blowing. I could just blow that and be in the pen and, you know, waste my opportunity and waste my life. He probably woke up and just had that thought like, okay, I'm gonna just sit on this yard. It ain't really my politics just to get off, even though individuals on...
Now, it's not the blacks' politics to get off a yard like that. I don't know how it goes to the Mexicans. I would assume, I could be wrong, this is just my guess, it's an opinion, this is no facts. I would assume that the Mexicans would be in a situation, if you're like an active Sereno, and you know, you into that type of politics, that you would have to do something to get yourself put off that yard within the first 48 to 72 hours, or you would be deemed no good. And I would imagine that the Mexicans that are on that yard would not be welcomed back into general population of other yards if, you know, they had to move around and all that kind of stuff like that without fear of a physical, you know, punishment or something like that. But as far as the blacks is concerned, we can do what we want to do. If that's where that man want to do his time, man, because that makes the most sense. Makes sense to me. Do it over there, big dog. Do you, and do it safely.
3 and 4 level yards might be upset that I'm programming on his yard, but I don't plan on going back or something. I don't know. That could have been the thought process. But like I said, I didn't think it. You feel me? Like, I didn't think it. I would have thought that, you know, he would have probably got off on somebody, because it just feel like he's the type of person, if he was out, he would be talking down on somebody that was on a 50-50 yard. That's just my thought.
How you were talking bad about Crip Mac for being on a 50-50 yard, now you're not talking bad about Jap, but I feel you.
From like the image, the music, everything like that. But let me go back to him making a decision. I made a decision. I made like the same decision. I just wasn't in prison. Like, and only some people saying this is a decision, him sitting on that yard. Some people don't care. Some people really don't care. Some people might care, might just don't want to say nothing. But back to the decision. I made a decision to back up and leave the streets alone. And get like a regular job, live a regular life, you know, try to focus on that and do something. And try to do it before I waste too many years of my life, or before I go get 10 years in the pen and then gotta like do 10 years, 8 years, and then come out a different man. I didn't want to go do none of that. And before I get knocked.
And why would anybody want to do that? Because some situations you might not even have that to do. You might get knocked down in there, and that's just the end of it.
Down, get smoked, get put in the grave, bro. But so I made a decision to back up out the streets. So, I mean, it's the same thing. So it's not really, I'm not like down talking the play. I'm just giving my opinion on the situation. Anyway, yeah, he need to go in there, do all the programs, learn everything he can learn, the trades or whatever. Do that and come out and don't go back. You know, really focus on the rap, focus on the boxing, just focus on normal living. Like, don't even mix with the shit again, because it's only so many chances a person gonna get. It really is like the energy, karma, whatever.
That's real. You can't keep playing with these streets before they decide to play with you back, man. If you in the streets long enough, on a long enough calendar, everybody loses. Everybody loses.
Whatever you believe in, it's only so many chances a person gonna get. If you keep getting these passes, the next time it ain't gonna go that good. Like it's just not gonna go that good. So yeah, but Yeah, like shit. It's a 50-50 yard. And 50-50 yards houses all type of individuals. So what if it's a whole list of individuals on there with all type of weirdo convictions and you know they probably have to register on that list. The other individuals on that yard, they're not going to trip on them because they don't want to get taken out of prison land. No, they want.
That's real. They don't want to. Man, they probably got all kind of stuff going on in there. They probably got tree in there. They probably got dope in there. They probably got phones in there. It's probably going up as much as it could go up in that on that yard. They're probably doing the easiest jail time that they've ever done. My man said that it took him 7 years to bring his points down to get to that yard. He ain't trying to go back to the stabbings and the killings and the riots and the dealings and all that kind of stuff. That man is probably in there doing everything that he always wanted to do. Chilling. He ain't worried about the politics. He ain't worried about whatever because in his mind, I ain't going to have to deal with it because I ain't going back. He ain't finna mess it up. And understandably, as being a human, why wouldn't you want to put yourself in a situation? If you're already in a hard situation like doing jail, doing jail time, why would you want to make that hard situation worse? That doesn't make sense.
To be able to pet them horses and learn how to train dogs and stuff like that. And I'm not mad at the people. I'm really not. Like, if you think about it right now, like if you go to prison, it's gonna turn you into either like a savage, it's gonna turn your savage up, or it's gonna turn you into a male 304. You're gonna be in there, it's either gonna turn you ruthless or you gonna get turned into a fruit bag. That's all it is. But, you know, I mean, we gotta see how this goes, this prison land stuff, but y'all gotta let me know what y'all think. Drop it below, and don't be no unsubscribed or recurring viewer, because that's Gilligan activity. Hit that subscribe button right now. I'm out of here. I'll log back in on the next video.
I want to know.
And shout out to Spider Loke, shout out to Street TV and all that. They snuck it to the reaction. But with that being said, like, comment, subscribe for more of this good content. Though, if you ain't did that, hit that subscribe button. Become a part of this rich trapper mafia. Go ahead and hit that notification bell right there at the top. And if you think that Milk is selective politicking and he don't got the same energy for Jap 5 as he had for Crip Mac when they're in the exact same situation, let me know what you think in the comments, whether you agree, whether you disagree. We want to hear from you here at TNN Trap News Network. Find me on Instagram, Trap News Network, TRAPNEWSNETWORX. That's Trap News Network. Find me on all streaming platforms. Rich Trapper, Game 6. Rich Trapper, Worth More Than Money. Rich Trapper, I'm Better Off Without You. And my 2 singles, Start From Scratch and The Nightmare Before Christmas, are out now. Find me on all streaming platforms, man. We got merch coming. We got new music coming. If you're trying to figure out how to win $100, that's $50 2 different ways, slide to the beginning of the video. I'll be more than happy to explain that to you. Just slide, grab the little red dot, and swing it to the left. Everything you need over there is to the left. Find me on Instagram. Find me on all streaming networks. Figure out how to get this money, and we gone to the next one. Free Avenue Angel until he's free, and we gone.